So you've built your wealth in sound money, right? Things like physical gold. But then you run into this super frustrating problem every single month. Your landlord, your utility companies, they all demand to be paid in fiat currency like US dollars. And right there, you have this fundamental clash between two completely different financial worlds.
I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got your wealth, anchored in real, physical assets, stuff that's actually designed to hold its value over time. And on the other side, you've got their requirement, a debt-based currency that, let's be honest, is practically designed to lose its value. So the dilemma is, to pay your bills, you're constantly forced to sell off your core assets. It feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into a strategy that's specifically designed to solve that exact problem.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll really nail down this whole sound money dilemma. Then I'll explain this strategy called seasoning with Caesar. After that, we'll look at the specific financial tools that make it all click. Then the fun part, a real walkthrough of paying rent with gold. And finally, we'll look at the unshakable proof of payment that this whole system creates. So what on earth this is seasoning with Caesar strategy? Well, think of it as a really elegant way to interact with the fiat world, but on your own terms. Instead of being forced to sell your gold, you use its value to meet your obligations, which means your core wealth stays exactly where you want it, intact. Here's the core idea, pretty much straight from the source. It's all about using those existing fiat payment systems only when you absolutely have to. For practical stuff. But you do it without ever liquidating your real asset-anchored position. It's basically a controlled compliance tactic. Let's put it even more simply. You're leveraging the value of your gold to create the liquidity you need for your bills. Now, the key thing to get here, the most important takeaway, is that the physical gold, the actual atoms, never leaves the vault. You are satisfying their fiat demands while preserving your core wealth. It's the best of both worlds. Of course, a strategy like this isn't just something you can dream up. It's only possible if you have the right set of tools. So let's take a look at the three key components that all work together to make this happen. First up, you have APP App Pro. The easiest way to think about this is as the digital notary and the rule book for the entire process. It's a platform that transforms a simple payment into a fully governed, auditable event, creating this unshakable proof timeline for every single step along the way. Next, you've got your core asset, Goldbacks. Now, these are not just some promise of gold or a certificate. Each one of these notes contains a tiny, precise, verifiable amount of 24-karat physical gold. This is the real wealth that actually underpins and collateralizes the entire transaction. And finally, the TrueLink card. This is the crucial bridge to the fiat world. This is the card you actually use to make the payment in US dollars. So your landlord gets the currency they know and expect, while your reserves, your gold, remain safely positioned and untouched. All right, enough theory. Let's put these tools into action. We're going to walk through a real-world example right now, using this entire system to pay the monthly rent for a corporate apartment lease.
Okay, so the monthly obligation is pretty straightforward. It's $106 a night for 30 days, which comes out to $3,180. And because the lease in this case is for more than 6 months, the transaction is tax exempt. So that's our fiat target. That's the amount that has to be paid.
And this is where the strategy gets really, really powerful. See, if you were to just go and exchange your Goldbacks at a normal retail rate to get the cash for rent, you'd need about 297 of them. But, and this is a huge but, for high-level trust settlements inside this ecosystem, the protocol uses a special internal policy value. And at this much, much higher valuation, you only need to lock up a tiny fraction of a Goldback unit, just 0.342, to collateralize the very same payment. That is a massive, massive advantage. So how do you actually set this up? Well, it's a very formal, very documented process. First, you create what's called a legal container, or an active case for the lease right inside AP Pro. You upload the rental agreement as your proof first evidence, you add your landlord as a payee, and then you lock the required Goldback value as collateral. And finally, a real civil law notary attests to the agreement, anchoring the whole thing in a legally bulletproof framework. Now, once all that setup is done, the payment itself, honestly, it feels like magic. The landlord just charges the TrueLink card for the $3,180. In the background, in a split second, the system executes what's called an atomic flash loan. It instantly borrows the fiat to pay the landlord and then immediately repays that loan using the value of your locked Goldbacks. And just like that, your core asset is preserved. So
After this is all said and done, what are you left with? It is so much more than just a zero balance on your rent statement. What you've really done is create verifiable economic history. Every single monthly payment generates something called a settlement mirror receipt, SBT. Now, that's a mouthful, I know, but just think of it as a digital super receipt. It's a non-transferable token that serves as immutable, court-defensible proof that you have met your obligation. It's a permanent, unchangeable record of that event that can never be disputed.
And that's the ultimate outcome, the beautiful end state of this whole thing. You have successfully discharged your fiat obligation, your landlord got paid the dollars they required, so they're happy. But you did it without selling your core asset. Your physical gold atoms are still safe and sound in the vault, completely preserved and ready to keep on working for you.
You know, this entire process really leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to chew on. Traditional finance, it's all built on trusting institutions, right? But what happens when the proof of payment is baked directly into the transaction itself? If every single payment creates its own immutable, verifiable history, how does that change our entire concept of financial trust? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.